Good on you, producer at home. Welcome. We're here live in Warrnambool. Yeah, live here in Warrnambool. Yeah. The weather has cheered up, and so we're just gonna do our live show now at 6 o'clock. The carols start.
It wasn't great in Winchelsea. We were there for a while. It didn't look like we were going to make it. We were floated away.
Yeah, but Kate Grace did a prayer for us, and she's closer to God than us. So
the heavens opened.
That's it. So here we are. Everyone's here. We've got a few locals over there. We've got a pretty aggro. Apparently, they don't want this shit here. Yep. And so, obviously, not everyone's a fan.
No, clearly not. But we've got a secret weapon, Scott. Where are you, Scott? He's ready somewhere.
There's Scott and Tom Vogel.
Unleash him as required.
And Grace and her killer dog. And so here's, anyway, I'm going to go get our first guest and get the show rolling.
The first guest we're going to talk to is Amanda. And Amanda's going to be local candidate for the Liberal Democrats. Please join us. Amanda, you can see Amanda.
Thank
you.
T-shirt.
Still going? Yeah, good to see you. How's things, right?
Yeah, good. Just trying to get the Southern Grampians open to the Liberal Democrats, which is, all important. If the more people get involved.
So when you say you've got to get it open, the Southern Grampians, what does that mean? What does that entail?
Setting up branch meetings, getting the Liberal Democrats known in the area, trying to give people a opportunity than the two main parties. I think out here it's generally Liberal National.
Hang on, we've got no audio. Hang on. We're going to lose the feed for 10 seconds. Hang on.
Or anything. Jim's there waiting in the wings, ready to come on. So shall we just start that again? As if it hasn't happened? Yep.
Let's just pretend nothing happened.
Yeah. You better say another prayer, Kate, Grace, wherever you are. All right, and we're away. Amanda, we're here again. Take two. So we've got Amanda here from a local from Warrnambool.
I live on the way to Hamilton, so out on a farm.
Yep, live on a farm. What do you got going on the farm?
We've got Dorper sheep, got miniature goats and chickens and all the fun stuff of living on a farm.
So tell me the fun stuff living on a farm. What's a Dorper sheep?
Dorper sheep is a sheep that self-sheds. They're quite good for meat, but yeah, we didn't want to have to deal with shearing and stuff, especially now because there's a shortage of shearers out here.
Why is there a shortage of shearers? I guess I reckon I know, but I'm going to ask anyway.
Because of the vax mandate. So a lot of the shearers are seasonal workers, and a lot from the people that would normally do it, I've heard a lot have gone up to New South Wales because Victoria's just too strict with their mandates. So, yeah.
So shearer needs to be double vaxxed, yeah? Nearly triple vaxxed soon.
Yeah, triple vaxxed soon. Shearers and most farmers need to be vaccinated, even though they work outside and in the fresh air, in the sun.
You might spread the COVID to the sheep, though, couldn't you, really? Because it came from a bat originally, didn't it? So it's a zoonotic. I've always wanted to say that word, zoonotic disease.
Anything's possible. I mean, it depends on what science they bring up. So you'll create.
You're not trusting the science there yourself?
I believe proof rather than science that is just told to me. I think rather than making reading an article about a study, you read the actual study to get the facts. And if the facts don't align with how that article's been written, then,
And have you been down the rabbit hole a little bit, done a bit of research yourself on this?
I've done as much research as you can. A lot of it's limited, but yeah, I find reading the studies and not just taking someone's word for something and forming my own opinion and that's kind of worked for me.
Okay. So, and does that bring you to politics? Is that what's brought you to politics? Because I know you're going to be running as the local candidate for the Liberal Democrats, yeah?
Yeah, yes. I'm not officially endorsed, so but
okay, sorry. Jump the gun there a bit.
It's doing all the paperwork and stuff, but I'm hoping to run for the seat of Warrnambool.
Is there much competition?
Well, Dan Tehan currently has the seat, and
he's the Liberal member, isn't he?
Yeah, yep. Yeah. And what I've heard as a local business owner, I've heard that most people feel like we've been forgotten out here. Everything's been based on like Metro. All the lockdowns, all the funding, everything has been focused on Metro. When out here there's businesses that are closing down. I've had to close my business.
And what's your business,
I
Amanda?
own a hairdressing salon.
Whereabouts?
In Mortlake. But because I'm not double vaccinated, I'm not allowed to trade. So yeah, that's half my household's income gone, and I've never qualified for any state funding. I didn't qualify for JobKeeper because I'm a sole trader, not registered for GST. I did get the disaster relief payment, but that's all gone now. So yeah, the inequality between different types of businesses, and all these rules and regulations as to there's certain criteria that you need to meet. It hasn't been realistic. Someone that's registered for GST, if they work 48 weeks a year, they can earn roughly $1,700 before they pay GST. Yet the JobKeeper and disaster relief payment was only $750. So you're more than halving someone's income, and how are people supposed to survive on that?
Yeah, it's really difficult, and the politicians didn't have to take a pay decrease. They got 2 increases, I believe, in the time.
They gave themselves nice big pay increases, and that's actually one of the things that the Liberal Democrats, in part of their manifesto, is they would like to see a pay reduction in at least federal politics, and I'm sure that they'll
Not for state, though.
I'm sure that
What
when we
about-
get around to the campaign for state, it'll be the same thing. So yeah, they really want to cut back on the wasted spending that both federal and state governments have been doing, because there's a lot of money that's just thrown down the drain. Duplicate departments. Like Dan Andrews is the perfect example. He's almost tripled his staff size. Like, that's just money waste.
Sure. Has David Limbrick or Tim Quilty been down to see you, both members of the upper house in Victorian Parliament of the Liberal Democrats?
I've seen them at the protest, and they are just such genuine, lovely guys. And so is Caroline and Crystal, that are running for the Senate as well.
In the federal Senate?
In the federal Senate. With both, the first time I met both of them, you could tell that they have good hearts, and they're doing this because they genuinely want to help people. And I think with politics, we need to stop having the career politicians. We need to have people that have owned businesses, worked in different industries. Real life experience goes so far. Someone who's always worked as a politician has no idea how to budget. Absolutely no idea how to budget. They don't know what it's like to not know where your next paycheck is coming from. And until they live something like that, they, in my opinion, they can't tell people how much money they can have.
So it must be a pretty lonely existence for you then, because you've got to get this going. You've got to generate enthusiasm for the Liberal Democrats, in a region where it's not necessarily known for being supportive of the Liberal Democrats. So how do you go about doing that?
So right now, a lot of it's just been word of mouth. It is handy being a hairdresser because I'm very.
You're not allowed to be a hairdresser at the moment, are you? So hang on.
I was very lucky being a hairdresser in a small town. I personally feel like most of my clients were friends, so I've stayed in contact with a lot of them, and they're very supportive of what I'm doing. And then small towns, everyone talks to everyone, and we're starting to get the word out. I came and met some lovely ladies on Friday here in Warrnambool who were just fed up with what is happening and looking for an alternative option rather than it being a two-party system.
I know in Melbourne, it really feels like there's a lot of anger in the community, probably at both the parties, and it feels like I've never felt this so much in the politics, so much appetite for change. Would that be true of the regions as well?
I think in the regions, particularly out here, if you look back, it's always generally been a Liberal Nationals type area. A lot of the farms are generational farms, so it's basically you're ingrained with the Liberals. And I think where the Liberal Democrats are quite good is because they've got principles and values. It's almost what the Liberals originally were before they got taken over by socialism. They really stick to that core ethics, with the principles of the parties.
What is that? What are those core ethics?
So it's free trade, capitalism, and basically, to put it in simple terms, you make your own decisions and you take responsibility for it, which is as adults, you're having someone that is, for me, being 300 kilometers from Melbourne, to have someone that doesn't live our lifestyle out here. I kind of couldn't accept that they were making decisions for how we run our lives. So, yeah.
So, is there anything else you want to say? Is there something you want to say? What's your pitch? What's your pitch to the electorate, Amanda?
Oh, well, there's so many things that I could cover. I would.
Brevity is always a good thing in these things, I think.
Yeah. I obviously how COVID has been affected regional. I feel that nothing was proportionate to what was actually happening. I know that Warrnambool went nearly 12 months without having a case. In Mortlake, we've never had a case. Hamilton was over 12 months without a case. So nothing was proportionate. So we want to recover from COVID. Then there's other things that personally I would like to focus on. So foreign investment, the way that the foster care system has been run. There's a shortage of foster carers in the regions, but you have to be double vaccinated to apply now to be a foster carer. When there's perfectly good, happy homes wanting children who need homes and support, and they can't be placed with them because of a bureaucrat's decision. So yeah, there's lots of things that I could focus on, but yeah, getting funding for out here too, which would be great.
Going back to the socialist model already on the funding. I want some extra money down here.
No, what I'd like to stop is where they say that they're giving you funding, but they're really taking it just from somewhere else. I'd like regional people to be able to make decisions for regional people. It's that simple. So.
Thanks, man. I think you'd be a great voice. And you've been great. You've been a great voice for our first voice on our little sojourn down to Warrnambool for Cafe Lockout. So thanks a lot for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. I'll hand you over to Michael.
How you going? I'm going to get the next one up. Now, this is Jenny.
Yes.
Is it Jennifer Lee?
Yes.
Jennifer Lee. Now, Jennifer Lee is the lady that brought us down here. Now, why did you bring us down here?
I have only been in Warrnambool for 4 months.
Where were you before that?
In Brisbane.
Oh, Brisbane.
Yeah. And I've started working with the community, and the people out there deserve to hear from the people of Warrnambool and the community of Warrnambool. So I'm the pain in the ass that got you here.
So you feel that their voice isn't getting out?
The local vaccine-free, non-mandate loving people are just sort of shunned. So, yep.
Oh, really? So the are like lepers, really?
Yeah, we've had it here today.
Yeah. We have.
You've experienced it.
Yeah. And what were you doing in Brisbane?
I was an Uber driver.
Oh.
Yeah, loved it. So yeah, came down here for Christmas with my mum and my sister on my way to Western Australia to my kids, and now I'm here and I'm not being blackmailed for anything. So yeah.
Are you finding the locals are accepting you, or are they seeing you like, where's this person turned up? This revolutionary thorn?
This is my tribe.
I should try it.
This is my tribe. Yep. Very good friends. Wonderful community. Yep. And the non-awake people out there, they'll get used to it.
And what do you think at the moment? Like, we're talking about the marches are getting smaller. And I know that's coming up to Christmas, but we feel that like we've got an army, but the campaign isn't clear at the moment for what we're fighting for. Do you feel what is it we're fighting for?
My personal opinion is that we're fighting for this, for community. Everyone needs to. Yes, I've done the marches myself. I've done the email campaigns to the ministers and all that sort of thing. But now we really need to work on this, on our communities, build up our communities and see them thrive.
Have you ever known a time in the past where Australia has been so divided?
No, never. My 75-year-old mother got discriminated against a couple of weeks ago in her hometown. She just wanted to have a coffee. It was sprinkling like it is now. And she just wanted to have a coffee and sit down and have a warm coffee. And she was not allowed to sit in the cafe, and she was not allowed to sit on the footpath of the cafe. She had to go and sit in the park in the rain and drink her coffee and cry. She rang me and she was crying. And she said, you know, I've never felt like that. And I said, no, Mum, but that's what we're fighting for.
Yeah, and what would you say felt like what? Because I had another young woman tell me she's never felt so hated in her life, and simply due to the segregation.
Mum really struggled with the discrimination, the fact that she had chosen to not have a medical procedure, and so what difference does it make, you know? So yeah, she really struggled with that, and it was so sad. It broke my heart.
Well, we had another woman. She was arguing in the comments, and she was saying we're talking about apartheid, and she goes, "It's not apartheid," but I actually showed her from the dictionary that it basically goes segregating a group, segregating a group. So I said, it's in the dictionary. He goes, well, I don't like that interpretation. I said, well, why don't you write to the dictionary and go, I don't like your interpretation. Oxford say, change it. I don't like it. And the reason she doesn't like it is because she knows she's an oppressor, even if she's silent about it.
Well, you know, Daniel Andrews summed it up very well in the pandemic bill, didn't he? Any group for age, sex, sexual leanings, you know, whatever, or any other physical characteristics.
Yeah.
Well, a medical apartheid is a physical characteristic, isn't it? So, yeah, if she likes that description of the word, let her use it.
Can I ask, have there been, is the segregation going on here? Are they sort of strict with it, or are they starting to ease up?
They're starting to ease up, I feel. I don't go out a lot. I got not included in Bunnings on the first day of the show us your peppers, and I just turned around and left, and have not gone back, not spent a cent since. Yes, anyone. I don't go out a lot, actually. This is.
So you're going out to cafe time has stopped?
Yes, definitely. Yeah. So yeah, I haven't haven't seen it myself, but yeah, it's definitely out there. It's calmed down a bit the last week or so. But I'm amazed at the people that are still wearing masks outside. And yeah.
Well, we noticed here on the way here, the mask wearing was everywhere. Even in the country towns, we people walking by themselves, really compliant. Even so there's literally little resistance here, is what you're saying.
There's some very scared people out there, and my heart goes out to them. We had a Reclaim the Line party barbecue here last week, and you know, I made a concerted effort to welcome everyone. You know, we're not about segregation here. I don't care if you're triple vaxxed.
Yeah, which you will be soon.
Yeah. They will be.
In fact, they're moving the vaccination now to every 3 months almost. You know.
Yeah.
Do you think that will change people? Do you think people will go, hey? Because do you ever wonder that people signed a deal where they said, okay, I'll get the 2 vaccinations, everything about I fair enough. But when it comes to the booster and now a booster every 3 months, do you think that's going to sway people?
I think it's going to be a big wake-up call. And also when people are made to, and I hate being pessimistic here, but when people are made to get their 5-year-olds vaccinated to go to school next year, it's going to cause some heartache, big heartache. And that's what I'm trying to help people with here.
So you think that's one of the battlegrounds is the children?
Very much so. Yeah. One of our ladies here is going to she has a speech prepared for this afternoon on saving the children.
Yeah, well, we're going to get her up next, I think. So if we can find her. Yeah, get Kaz, Damien. We're just going to get that woman up next, Kaz. She's going to speak to Damien.
Yep.
And but thanks for inviting us. And let's see if we get a crowd. And we got the other crowd over there just eyeing us off dangerously, as if they've already wanted video deleted because they don't want to be seen in our video. So we've had to do that.
That's their choice. That's their choice. Everyone. That's what the heart of this speaks to me, is that everyone has a choice. Let them live their choice, but leave me alone.
Well, the choice is the bedrock of freedom. Yeah. That's what it's built on. Yeah. So you remove choice, you're a slave. Yeah. You know, whether you like it or not. Okay, I'm going to move over to Damien. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for welcoming us here.
Thanks, Michael. And I've got Kaz here with me now. Kaz is also from Awake Women, Warrnambool. Yeah. Like Jen. Yeah. And what do you do, Kaz? What do you do for a living?
For a living? Yeah. I'm a remedial massage therapist.
So have you been able to continue to practice that?
They've just mandated us. So we've been able to fly under the radar until pretty much now here in Victoria. Other states have been mandated for a while, and they haven't been able to.
So what problems do you envisage for yourself now that it's been mandated?
I don't see problems. I just see opportunities for myself. It's just how I view the world, I suppose.
So what, you'll continue to practice irrespective?
Yeah, why not? Yeah, I like healing. I like to spread love and help as many people as I can. So, hands-on for me is just a natural way of helping people. So
that new pandemic legislation, though, has got some really exorbitant fines for businesses, etc. Is that something that concerns you?
No, not at all. No, I don't comply. So, for me, I don't see that as a problem. Yeah.
And could you envisage yourself of being in court at some stage over something like that, or?
I don't know. I don't try not to get caught up into any of that. Like I said, it hasn't really affected me at this point in time. So I really don't know. I suppose if I was faced with that, maybe it might be a different situation.
And do you find because it seems like a really courageous thing, and something I've thought about a lot too. I thought, I don't really care anymore because it has to be. So whatever will be, will be. And if that system going to get that corrupt, well, so be it. What can you do? Do you feel like isolated having that opinion, or do you think there's support in the community for that opinion?
Oh, got amazing support here in Warrnambool. I just feel blessed. I think you gravitate towards, and what you put out is what you get back. So I believe in law of attraction myself. So, I've got some amazing new friends, new tribe. Just support in many different ways has been really grateful for. Yeah,
there's a couple of things there, because I know some people have said to me, "Oh, look, watch out, Warrnambool's a really conservative community, and people can get really angry about anyone that suggests that there's something wrong with the vaccination program." Is that something you would agree with? Or?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Been like that for forever and a day. I mean, I've been here nearly 30 years, and I would never consider myself a local.
Yeah, right. Got to wait till your grandmother's buried in the cemetery first.
Yeah. I found my own tribe, and it just happens. Yeah.
And so, what relationships have struggled since this whole, COVID situation has revealed itself? What relationships have you had difficulties with?
I suppose treating clients that have come into our clinic. I found that probably one of the biggest hurdles for me personally. I just keep my opinions to myself, and everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I just let them have their views, and I don't cross over, try to correct them or anything. I just let that be. I'm there to help them to feel better, because everyone that comes in is really anxious, really heightened, quite scared and frightened. So I just see it as my role as the person that I am, that I just give them as much love and support that I can, and just let that be their opinion. So
in your professional practice, have you ever come across so much fear in the community as over the last 18 months, 20 months?
No, not at all. I mean, we don't even talk about the weather anymore. It's always, the weather. Doesn't even come into conversation. Everything is about this. Yeah.
And how have people's responses been to you like that? Has anyone said to you, because of your stance, that they don't want to deal with you on a professional level?
No one's asked me on my stance. It's not being questioned. A couple of people might have said that, what about you? And I've gone, well, I just choose my direction, and it's what I believe in, and information I've come across. Pretty much just leave it at that. And I'll just move on conversation because, like I said, they're coming pretty heightened. So I'm trying to de-stress them. And because usually a high majority of them have been jabbed, they're having the side effects. So with that, I just want to try to give them the best course of action of just healing, I suppose.
And what sort of side effects are you seeing?
I'm not sure whether I can say.
Don't mention any names. I don't want to know anyone's personal details, but what's ballpark sort of things are happening?
Well, just I suppose anything that's underlying is just heightened. It's exacerbated. Really picked up. Like I said, anxiety is a real big one. Mental health, like everyone's mental health, is just escalated, and we're not seeing anything. They're not reporting anything, and it really gets up my goat that mainstream media is, just not showing this to people. I think that really gets to me. But in the clinic, just what they've already got going on, it just really exacerbates that. So a lot of immune compromised already. It's resurfacing and it's coming out. Yeah.
Talk about the mental health issues, and you say it's not being reported, particularly in the mainstream media. Why do you think that is? What process is going on that it's not being reported?
I don't know why it's not being reported. Maybe it's just a distraction again. It's something that's not their focus. They want the focus all to be on everyone getting the jab, and you've got to do this for everybody, and you've got to do this for your family, and you've got to do this for that person, not necessarily because it's what you should be doing for yourself. So I think that's just where all the focus is being really pushed. So nothing else is coming into play of anything really.
And we won't have to worry, will we? Because Big Pharma will have all these psychotropic drugs for us. We'll be able to take for our mental health as well, won't they, Kaz? So there'll be nothing to worry about there, will there?
No, not at all. Covered, totally covered in all directions.
I thought you might agree with that one. And so tell me, what's Awake Women Warrnambool about? What's that organisation about? And how did it come about?
It's not an organisation. It's just, I suppose, women coming together, and we're all mums. Majority of us are mums, and we're just supporting each other through the trials and tribulations of more mandates that are coming in, more challenging times of coming in, that we can't go to our school, our children's end of year celebrations, and being on school to be able to even volunteer anymore. So, and just with our children, supporting them because they're being really pressured like no end.
What do you think? So on January the 10th, and there'll be children from 5 to 11, I think, will be mandated as well for the jab. What's your response to that?
Well, it just breaks my heart. I just can't believe it. It really upsets me. Yeah. Yeah.
There's a lot. I find there's a lot of tears at the moment. I talk to people, and so you're going to make me do it now too. So I'm going to resist. Just try and be a bit masculine. Try as I might. But so there's a lot of tears, isn't there? For a lot of people in the community, it sort of comes in waves and stuff. And again, there's no government response to that. It's just we're just left to be collateral damage, and it's painful, isn't it?
It is. But I will say, I've met the most amazing and courageous people in my journey in the last 2 years. It has cracked us open, made us raw, and made us really fight for something that's better. We've not had this before. We've been all misled forever. Every system needs to be reinvented, and I think this is our opportunity to really do that, to dig deep and support each other, and just reach out and find somebody. There's somebody that's there, that you're not alone, no one's alone. So if you can find someone, even if it's a dog or a cat, they can bring some comfort for you. And I think it's a great thing that we should be feeling this emotion. Otherwise, this change is not going to happen.
Is there a lot of anger behind that emotion too, because what's being done to people? A lot of anger there.
I don't know. I think that comes in waves as well. Anger. It's an emotion, isn't it? You know, like it all, it's just an emotion. So as long as we don't hang on to that anger and we let it go, we process it and we recognize it, deal with it, and unpack it if that's another aspect that you need to do. So you don't carry that burden through with you. So we can bring some real healing and start healing what we want to do moving forward.
So just finally, how far are you willing to go with this fight?
What do you mean by that?
Well, this fight that we're in, this struggle for our existence and how our culture will be in the future and who will be, like, what lengths are you willing to go to with that struggle?
Oh, I'm not going to die on my knees. I'm standing on my feet right to the very end, and whatever it takes, I will do. I'll support whoever I can to help them to get over the line and give them whatever information I can, give them as much love, give them as much healing, give them whatever I can to help them to be whatever they need to be as well. So I'm here to the end with whoever I can be with. So, yeah.
Are you surprised by your emotional reserves, like how much emotional reserves you actually have as a human being?
No, I've had some trials and tribulations all over my lifetime, in the short time that I've been here too. So, no, I don't hide it now. I'm just, the world whoever got to see me, cry on TV there. But that's just emotion. That's how it is. Yeah, I'm not afraid. Yeah, and shouldn't be ashamed. No one be ashamed of it. Be proud. Yeah.
Thanks, Kaz, from Woke Woman of Warrnambool. Is there a woke man? Is there a woke man or something?
Join our club. It's not specific to women, but yeah, we just, like I said, mums get together. So dads, whoever are welcome, doesn't matter. Yeah, all in. We all rise together. So yeah.
Right. Thanks, Kaz. Thanks, darling. Good on you, love. Good on you, mate.
Pretty hugging the kid.
Got me going as well. Damn you.
That's a win, isn't it?
It gets a kiss. Okay, let's come in. We're going to do 3 now. Barry's told me to be in the middle, so I'll get Anton, sit here.
Yep.
Let's see if we're on. Squeeze in. I'll move back. They need to see me. Okay, so this is
Anton Habel.
Rebecca Mahmood.
and that you own a cafe here, do you? Or you did own a cafe?
Yeah, we have Brightbird Espresso. Just closed the doors for good with the bill passing and everything. So,
And why did you close them for good?
well, because we don't agree with all the mandates and everything. We don't want to have somebody at the door checking people's vaccination status and anything like. We've never discriminated against anything. Everybody's welcome, and we believe in hospitality for everybody. We welcome everybody the same.
Hospitality, but you're not allowed in. And is that you concur?
Oh, absolutely. Anton and I have been very lucky through this whole thing. We share the same principles. We do approach things in the same way. We have the same or very similar moral compass. So yeah, we knew at which point we would draw a line, and that was when we come to a point where we are required to become enforcers of something that we believe to be morally wrong. We wouldn't take that step. I think.
And what's your relationship?
Anton's my brother, so
Brother and sister working together in the one business.
yeah.
Now that's rare.
Yeah, it's worked out okay. So we were very lucky that we're on the same page all the way through COVID. And I should say, I don't think the problems were due to COVID that we've faced as a small business. We believe that the problems that small businesses have faced are due to the government response to COVID-19. And I think it's important we have that distinction.
Yeah. And what do you feel is their response? Is it like a fear-based response, or, what's your view of what's happening?
Oh, I do believe that it's been a deliberate fear-based campaign. At the beginning, obviously, we didn't know what we were dealing with, but as things became clearer, it became clear that fear is the tool that's being used to create a certain specific response in the population. And that can't be an accident, because
those types of campaigns have taken place many times in the past. They've been analysed by people after events. They're being analysed during events, and they're being heavily analysed during this particular event. We know it's a fear-based campaign, and they've chosen to take that tactic because it works. It's guaranteed to work among a big percentage of the population. And at the beginning, obviously, you don't know what you're dealing with, so you step carefully, you follow the rules, you trust, but you have to question as you go. You have to say, does this make sense? Does that make sense? Once you realize that things are not making sense, there's inconsistencies, there's contradictions, then you start questioning, okay, is the framework that this is based on, does that make sense? And then you realize that even the framework behind it isn't making sense anymore. Then you have to really question all of it, and start thinking for yourself, and realize that you can't just approach this in fear. You need to actually learn that maybe we have to take more responsibility for all of our own decisions. Maybe we've handed far too much responsibility over to the government because we wanted an easy life. We didn't want to have to worry about things. So we were just like, oh, well, you take care of that for us. But in so doing, we've also handed over our autonomy, which I think is really, we're seeing the results of that now. So I think we all need to start taking personal responsibility for far more things in our life as individuals, and also as a collective of citizens, not just allowing government to do what they want to do.
Yeah, the overreach. Now, I met you at one of the marches. You were walking next to me, introduced myself, and that's how many of the marches have you been to?
We've been to half a dozen, I suppose. When we closed the doors temporarily, we decided we'd get our vans together and get as many people down to the rallies as possible every week. Yeah. And then we've stopped coming the last few weeks just because we've got to empty out all the cafe, take everything down and out. So, yeah.
That must be hard.
Yeah, it is actually. Yeah. It kind of hit the other day when I got the jammy bar into the front counter and ripped it all apart. It's like, yeah, it was a bit depressing going home that night. It's been kind of finishing at midnight every night last week. And, yeah.
How long you had the cafe?
We took it over 2 years ago. We shut the doors 1 week before our second birthday. Yeah.
2 years ago. That's bad timing, brother.
Bad timing. That's right. Yeah.
That is bad timing.
I know. Yeah. I think we heard the first rumors of COVID about 2 months after we took over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, so what I'm guessing though, for you, it's almost more a moral decision than an economic one.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. That's what it is. Yeah. No, it would have been. Oh, it was fantastic business.
And how are the locals taking your decision?
I think a lot of people respect what we've done. They realise why we've done it, and we'll be back. We'll open a new place as soon.
So you made a public announcement though of what you were doing.
We put a little message on Facebook and Instagram just to let the local people know why we were closing temporarily, and we thought it'd only reach a few people, and just to let them know. And we were surprised how many people actually commented and thanked us. It was tens of thousands, and we got letters and notes under the door, and yeah, it was really surprising. And I think it helped the community to realise that we're not alone. Everybody kind of thought they were alone. We thought we were alone, and suddenly we realised there's actually more people than we know that are on the same side of this fence. So yeah.
Well, have they made us feel alone? It's just through the media and stuff like this?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, on mainstream media only show what they want us to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they want us to believe that we're alone, just like they've been telling us that the rallies in Melbourne have been hundreds. Sometimes they say thousands, and we kind of know there's hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they just keep saying the same thing over and over and over, and telling a lie 100,000 times, it almost becomes truth, doesn't it? Eventually,
that's right. Well, that's Nazi, and the Nazis did it. I hate to say it, but that's what they did. That's right. It was Goring, or who was the one that was the main guy? Goebbels, I think, said that's what you do. Now, do you feel what's the best way to fight back against all this fear, in your opinion?
I think just on our personal experience, knowing where we personally would draw a line helped. And once we got to that point, and once we crossed it, we were I guess, realizing then, once you stand up, then you realize that you're not alone. Until you make a stand, make a decision, and don't shy away from it. Until you make that decision, you don't realize how many people are on the same thought, have the same idea, and we're all just too afraid to voice it. So once we voiced it and realized that actually we are making sense, we're not just making a silly decision. We haven't been afraid now to do a lot of things that we wouldn't have considered, like even just going to a protest. If you had said to us in June or July we'd be going to protests in Melbourne, we would have said, no way. Now we're not afraid to do those things. We're not afraid to do things that, are completely out of our comfort zone, because we've grown from that and we continue to grow, we continue to learn. And that's the only way we're going to find a way out of this, is if everybody, every single person makes their decision, draws their line in the sand to know at what point it's too far for them. It's important to know how far as an individual you go, because if you allow it to be incremental, you will go far further than you maybe ever intended to go. So you need to know where your moral compass says enough, no further. And that allowed us to, I guess, feel a kind of liberation. Now we don't have to pretend or sort of play games about where we actually stand. We don't have to pretend to customers that we're happy with all of the rules. We think it's wonderful.
There's a question there. How would you go about living in the lie if you had the cafe open? How could you possibly do that? Live in the lie of, here we are happy, but you can't come in.
Yeah, that's a hard question, and we just weren't happy about the rules ever. I wore a mask 7 days a week from morning till night, knowing that it's actually making myself sick. And we never mandated our staff to wear masks. We said, by all means, wear masks. If you're not comfortable with me not wearing a mask, I'll put it on while you're on shift. Those kinds of things. Always did all the sanitizing, followed all the guidelines, because it's an important thing in hospitality, I feel, to do all the safety, food safety, everything has to be clean. So we followed all the rules. We asked people if they've checked in. Obviously, if people didn't want to, we allowed them in anyway, because I don't believe that it's a...
You terrorist.
Yeah, absolutely.
Actually, while we're talking about that, I'm trying to figure out, because you're doing my head in. So are you either redneck fascists or Nazis?
Oh, definitely Nazis. Definitely Nazis.
Well, I was going to guess Nazis.
No, so for us, Nazism was a big factor in how we made our decisions. Our grandparents on both sides of the family tree are German. We read and learned a lot about history as we were growing up. Now, our grandparents, as far as we know, didn't do anything terrible in the war, but they also didn't do anything wonderful. And I guess in the back of our heads, we never thought we'd be facing anything that might be similar, but we all, yeah, absolutely. And so
Why do they call us Nazis, in your opinion?
I think they're calling us Nazis because it's the best way for them to deflect the fact that that's what they're doing. And they're using pretty much the exact same tools. They're using a wonderful propaganda arm in the same way that Goebbels used it during, and not just during the war. Let's not forget that there was about 6 years of propaganda before the war broke out. And sure, we're not at the point that the Holocaust got to, but I think we need to remember that the Holocaust did go that far. In the US, they did force sterilize people. So if at a point in history, someone thought that was a great idea on a massive scale, so if they can think that something that terrible was okay, it doesn't mean that something that's not quite that far is okay. I mean, we have to learn where a suitable spot is to draw the line. And you don't have to wait until you've actually, thrown the person into the fry pan before you say, oh, whoops, let's let's learn from history. Let's not make the same mistake over and over and over again.
So, like, be vigilant is really what you're saying, because we're pretty well in totalitarian kindergarten.
Absolutely. Like, you know, if we don't ever learn to spot the early signs and stop it there, we're destined to forever end up at that end point where you say, oh, whoops-a-daisy. You know, we don't have to keep doing it. Like, let's learn, let's progress as human beings, let's progress as a country and as a world, and let's be the best people we can be. Let's not keep repeating something that failed before. You know, if you keep doing something the same way, you're going to not get a different result. So.
Well, I love it. I love the decency. I mean, and the other thing too, which is ironic, is Hitler probably wouldn't have killed himself if he'd known Melbourne had so many Nazis in waiting for him. You know, he could have just relocated and set up a whole new, a Fourth Reich. You know, even though we're not there, they're not the best dressed. Thing. But what are you going to do in the future? Do you think? What's your future plans together?
I think right now it's just obviously clean out the cafe. We've got to get that over with. It's a bit depressing, but it's got to be done. And then look forward to, I don't know, find. You know, when you close a door, a new door opens. I feel that way, and so yeah, I'm not filling my mind with what's going to happen.
You look like you need a hug.
I think we all do right now.
You do.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I really admire your bravery, both of you, for doing what you were doing. I really do.
Thank you.
It's we closed our theatre company because we said we're not playing segregated audiences.
Yep.
So I
The theatre
totally get it.
industry, It broke our heart to see what they've done to the arts. The arts have had the hardest run of this whole thing. First, they couldn't work for 2 years straight. Now they're told if they want to perform, they must be vaccinated and the audience must be vaccinated. And most of them didn't get benefits the same as other people. What choice have people in the arts had? Like, they've just been left to, I don't know, to just live in the gutter, and it's been as though nobody cares. And that's made me the angriest, because the arts is where we get our heart from. It's where we get our culture from. It's where we learn. It's what makes us laugh. It's what makes us cry. Without the arts, we lose the people's voice, and we lose some of those ties that bind us together. We lose that creativity, and I don't know, it just makes me really angry.
I can see why I said you wanted to speak. We're going to move to the next one, okay? Okay, I'm going to get Damien on, see who Damien's got next. Stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
Now, just rearrange some of the furniture here.
Okay, no worries.
Now I have Nerida with me. Nerida is a mum. She's got a son. He's 14 years old, Oliver, and we're trying to get Oliver to have a chat, but he's a little bit shy, as you can imagine, at 14. I've got a 15-year-old, so I understand that, son. Yeah. And but Nerida used to be a nurse, but she saw this approaching iceberg called the pandemic coming, and she resigned from being a nurse. So I'm going to let her tell us some more about that, Nerida.
Hi, thanks for having me on. Yes, look, I was just I was doing some critical care shifts just before the pandemic hit, and I'd actually injured myself, and I was actually off work, so I was doing some shifts at a tertiary ICU, and I guess I was in with the narrative to begin with, but not having to work, I actually had a lot of time to start doing research. And so they were talking about this COVID, and I knew that they've never actually been able to ever find a vaccine for a cold, which COVID, we know, is usually a cold. And I started doing research, and I realised that there was some academic information coming out saying, look, we've got T cells for immunity. And I'm going, oh, well, that's great. This will be over soon. So that was early 2020. That information was coming through. And then I was running a Airbnb and having to clean it. And I sort of thought some of the information they were giving people just went straight against what we learned as a nurse. Realised that...
What sort of information?
So information, like we used to be told, one of the best ways of getting rid of infections was getting out in the sun. And then all of a sudden they're closing places like national parks. We've got the, beautiful 12 Apostles and the Great Ocean Road, and they're suddenly closing it to people. And I'm thinking that doesn't even make logical sense. There is just no logic here. Within nursing and that, they were, you wash your hands, the best things that we're being told, with a virus, that it has a coating that breaks down with soap and water. So even the alcohol-based products that they were making people obsessively clean their hands with just didn't make sense to the knowledge that I'd learned as a nurse.
Did you bring that up with anyone, the illogical nature of it?
Absolutely. At the time I was on, which I call Facebook. I can't even come out with the term these days for Facebook.
There's another term. We won't use that one either, Nerida.
Yes, yeah. I was getting on the government sites and I was asking pertinent questions, and suddenly I had shills threatening me. Now, these are government sites that I was going to, asking genuine questions that any nurse would ask and any person in a medical background would ask. And so I suddenly went, wow, I just didn't quite understand how nefarious it was until I started doing more research.
And did you get the chance to ask anyone in person, apart from just on sites? Did you ask anyone in person?
No, I guess I was a little isolated in the country. But I just remember, what I tried to do, I started talking to a GP, sending messages that I used to be friends with when our kids were younger. And I sent a couple of things and she'd answer back. And then I remember seeing what Mike Yeadon said, sent her that, and she goes, oh, he's a bit unhinged. According to him, I'm going to die in 2 to 3 years.
Could you just tell us who Mike Yeadon is, for those people who don't know?
Yeah, so Mike Yeadon, I think he was one of the leading scientists for Pfizer over in the UK. I think he was, either acting CEO, I can't remember his exact title, but he knew what he was talking about. So I started following what was happening overseas, and here doctors were speaking out and going, well, we've got oral treatment that what's coming through our doors we're able to treat. And so therefore I knew, like with the emergency status, that that's the only way that they could bring out a experimental injection. I also, alarm bells started going off, especially when my first girlfriend, that's a nurse, that just lined up to have it. And I said to her, what paperwork did you have to fill out? And she said, oh yeah, just probably the general paperwork. And I said, well, that's not a trial. I mean, I had signed people up to trials in coronary care years ago, and the paperwork was huge. And then on top of that, there would also be a specialised nurse that was involved that would actually follow them up at home, looking at data, taking obs, taking bloods. So none of this was happening. And so I just had more alarm bells going off.
And when you talked to your doctor friend about Mike Yeadon, and you said that she said, well, he's a bit unhinged. Can you just tell us some more about that? You were going down that path.
Okay. Yeah, well, look, I stopped sending her things for a few weeks. Then I suddenly heard that they were going to they were advising pregnant women to have an experimental injection. Well, that was just put me in complete shock. And I'm thinking, how can doctors be following this? Because I just know that usually, you don't even want to give Panadol to pregnant women. Panadine Fort was seen as a last resort to give pregnant women, and suddenly they want to inject them with a vaccine that, from the reading I did, it was killing off animals, and all the studies stopped in 2012. So, yes, and I think I was about to ring obstetricians and pediatricians that I knew, and then I think I really woke up to went down rabbit holes and found some really nefarious stuff, and went, I'm not sure where I can go with this.
So what did you wake up to in particular, Nerida?
I'm not sure whether I can say on
Well,
online.
let's find out, shall we?
Does it go beep if I mention?
Michael does. Michael goes beep. He's over there. He can hear. He'll go beep.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's this secret society that is throughout all our communities, to tell you the truth, because I thought, how else could they be getting away with what they're getting away with without having people in place? And so there's one particular secret society that stands out to me.
Are we willing to mention any names?
No.
Okay. And so what nefarious end do they hope to achieve?
I don't know. I guess it's according to all the information I'm coming across, the Agenda 21, they see us as useless eaters, that for some reason, they have us in some sort of spell, these, I don't know what they are really.
Are they Masons?
Yeah, I think so.
Of some description. Stonemasons.
Stonemasons. Well, I think if they were stonemasons, we wouldn't be in this problem. Yes.
Just playing games with words, really. So you deregistered yourself. You saw this and you thought the best course of action for you to do would to be deregister yourself as a nurse. Is that right?
Yeah, I was quite well aware that back in 2016, that they were trying to mandate flu injections, which I wasn't very comfortable with, because I remember being a student nurse, and both years in a row that I had the flu injection, I was really sick. Ended up with pneumonia and things like that. So
it poisons the system, basically.
Oh, absolutely. Within 24 hours, I was sick, and this is back, in the late early 1990s. So I was very aware. I actually went for a job interview to go back into some acute nursing, and at the job interview, they basically said, we can't offer you anything unless you can guarantee you're going to have your flu injection. So that was happening in 2018, 2019. So I knew about that, and when they started on, that all the health workers need to have this experimental vaccine, I mean, it's just horrific, really.
So you deregistered yourself as a nurse, you were telling me, and then you're saying they had difficulties with recruitment, so they re-registered you. What happened there? That sounds strange.
Well, I noticed, I think it was when the first lot of aged care nurses was stood down in Victoria. I think it was probably a couple of weeks after that, I received an email saying that that they had re-registered me because and have paid for my registration, so that if I felt I wanted to help out with the COVID, I could. So
it seems strange that they would, given your background, that they would think that you would be someone that would be willing to do that.
Well, they wouldn't know me, would they? We're just a number. We're just...
Even in a regional, I thought maybe in a regional centre it mightn't be as bad. It might be more personal than that.
No, APRA is just a big registration body. That's all they are.
So it was just through APRA. It wasn't personal at all, yeah.
No, nothing personal, no.
So have you been re-registered, and have you been able to be of any assistance to COVID patients?
Definitely not. I'm not. I'm vaccine free.
I like that term. Nerida knows. She's been around.
Yes. So no, but I find that I enjoy helping the community at the moment, and building tribes and bringing people together. So I've got other work to do. And I guess we've got to prepare what's coming. I know what's happening in the hospitals. I get enough information.
What's happening in the hospitals?
That we're full of vaccine injured. That I think Omicron is the name for the vaccine injury. And
symptoms of the vaccine injury is that, yeah.
yes. It doesn't take long to wake up to their coding. That's for sure.
Vaccines before. I've just got an interest in this. Like, is there any possibility that vaccines might have some correlation to autism?
Well, there certainly seems to be a lot of information coming out. There's a lot of academic work that seems to be being published at the moment. So
Just got carols warming up at the moment, which is great. It really helps for the interview.
I might start singing now.
Nerida's going to sing. Here we go. Silent Night from Nerida.
No. Yes.
I'll just finish on this, Nerida. I just think, is there any chance you reckon we'll get a chance to talk to your son, Oliver? He's 14. What can we do to get him on having a chat with us?
It's teenagers, isn't it? It's a super hard time for these guys. I have to admit, when I woke up to what was happening, I felt guilty that I brought children into this world. And until I read something that someone had written, and I think there was a gentleman that said to his wife, he was feeling the same way I was feeling. And she said, when we've got dragons to slay, we breed dragon slayers. And so that helped me look forward to hope. Yes. Yeah. And I'm making sure that my children aren't asleep, because I was asleep. Politics was the last thing on my mind, and that's where they got us. Because we just let them do what they wanted to do, and so that's got to change.
Thanks, Nerida. I think courage is really infectious, and I can really feel your courage, mate. Yeah. So thanks for talking to us. Come on, start.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nerida. Good. Nerida didn't cry. I felt like there was a chance there, but she was strong, so that meant I was good as well. And now I can hand you back to Michael. Thanks, Nerida.
Thank you very much. Have a seat, mate. Okay, this is going to be our last interview before we start some music. And now I believe you're a councillor. Tell us your name.
Jim Dukas, and I'm on the Moonshire.
And you are the only unvaccinated member of the council, is that correct?
Apparently, yes. I don't know the status of the other councillors, but they're all going to meetings together. So I'd say they're all vaccinated, and I'm definitely not vaccinated.
And is there any reason why you're not vaccinated? You don't have to tell us if it's your personal choice.
Well, I just thought, well, somebody has to take a stand, because I don't like the way that they're treating people to be vaccinated. You know, it's all about control. I don't think the vaccine, well, I don't even think you could call it a vaccine, because it won't get rid of COVID. We started off with one jab, one becomes two becomes three's the booster. Now we're looking at 4. Now, where's it all going to end? And then people say, oh, you get your measles vaccine, you get your whooping cough and chickenpox, but they've all been eradicated. Yeah. I mean, you get 1 shot, 2 shots when you're a kid, and that's the end of it. You get injections when you go overseas. You don't keep getting them every week when you go overseas, do you? So, you know, there's something behind all this, and I just thought it's just not fair on the people to bully them into getting vaccinated. The old no jab, no jobs is just not the way to go. Not in Australia anyway.
So you don't like the fact that people are losing their jobs because they've decided my body, my choice?
Exactly. And I've met a lot of people that have lost their jobs, and very good people too. You know, I won't name people, but they've got very important jobs in and around the Warrnambool and the Moonshire, and they're all out of work now, and they're irreplaceable. Some are in the milk industry. There's a couple that worked actually for the Moonshire.
So the town's going to suffer for this?
Oh, definitely. I mean, well, everybody knows that they can't get enough workers. I don't know where the workers are gone, because they were there before COVID showed up. So where have they gone? There's no extra. You know, the supermarkets haven't doubled in number. The restaurants haven't doubled, but they can't get staff. So the staff that were there are gone somewhere.
Yeah. Can I ask, you said that you went to a supermarket after the newspaper had sort of announced you. So the newspaper did a story on you not being vaccinated, did they?
They did, yes.
And was it a nice piece?
It was good. Yeah, to be fair to the Warrnambool standard, it was a fair piece, and the reaction from the community was unbelievable. I mean, you couldn't get out of the supermarket. People just walking up saying, look, I'm double vaxxed or I'm vaxxed, but I had to be because I can't lose my job. Well, that resonates in the community, and that shouldn't happen.
Yeah. So you got a lot of people who are, wow. So they've taken it, and now they're regretful or angry that they've been forced to take it.
They are. They're angry, but they're quiet about it because, as you know, if people speak up too much, there's always a fringe element that want to hound them down. You're in the media, and you know how Facebook works and everything. The quiet majority aren't happy with the way they've been treated.
Yeah, and so you feel that the loud minority is basically bullying everyone into silence.
Well, isn't that the way of the world? It's happened for years, and the media, you know, I miss Sky News, you know, Rowan Dean and all them on a Sunday morning because they give an alternate point of view, and they interview people who have a different point of view that back things up with facts. You only got to get on YouTube for a couple of hours and get the opinion of other people around the world, and you get a different light on exactly what's going on with COVID and the vaccines.
Are you surprised how all the media is basically just telling the one narrative?
Very. I thought that in Australia, I thought we were the land of the free and, you know, have a beer and a barbie and go to the footy and, you know, tell your mates to go and get whatever because you enjoy life. But now it's put a big divide in the community, even in families.
Yeah.
You know, it's unbelievable. And you got to be vaccinated to go to the hospital, apparently. You know, if you're old, you got to have a vaccine. So on the first floor, you got to have a vaccine if you're an old person. On the second floor, they give you a pill to do yourself in. Makes you wonder, you got to be vaccinated now to commit Harry Curry.
To euthanize yourself. You can't euthanize.
How to sell pills in a hurry.
Sorry, that's...
The people that come up with get a lot of money. They're employed by the government. They're making very good money, get good wages to come up with these silly things.
Yeah. And where do you see the future going? What do you think is going to happen? Like even with you, are you going to be able to remain a councillor?
I should hope so, because Zoom's taken over now. Vaccinated or unvaccinated, a lot of people do Zoom meetings, and I can still Zoom. I'm allowed out in the public, and I get phone calls from my constituents all over the Shire, and I can meet with them publicly, and we can still do business. I don't know what Daniel Andrews is going to do. If he sees this, he might say, I'm going to put you out of business, just because he must have a hatred against people that aren't vaccinated because of the way he treats them.
I think he's got a hatred against anyone who goes against him.
Well, that might be true, but you know, I feel for the man, the way he operates, and I really, you know, don't want to bring families into it, but he should sit and think. I think, talk to his wife and his kids, and to his close friends. Forget about his politician mates. Talk to his close friends about how he's operating and how he's running the state.
And have you always lived in Warrnambool?
I live in Martha's Flat, actually, just north of Warrnambool. It's
Warrnambool, sorry.
Yeah, it's the Toorak of the area up there, Martha's Flat. People are busting to get out there and buy a block and build a house and all that. So I like to pump my little town up. It's a great place.
Yeah, great. Okay, well, thanks for coming on. Is there anything else you want to say while we're here?
Oh, just for everybody to stay safe and keep up the good fight. And for you guys to keep doing what you're doing is terrific. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start some music now. Thanks for coming on. Look out for the cord.
Oops. Yeah.
Okay. So, yep, we're going to start some music now, and I think it's going to be Bradley. He's going to come over here. Are you going to play some music, or I don't know who's going up now? Who's going up?
You going to do the DJ, or you going to do Brad?
I don't know who is.
Hey, Mrs. Please. They said they wanted.
Just wait. We're just trying to organize the music. Where's go to Jenny, who's organizing it, and can you see Jennifer, the first person who did it? All right. Well, we might go up and MC and just stuff this.
I'll sit on this side for something different. I've been on that side a few times, so now I'm going to sit on this side because that's just the kooky, crazy show this has turned into. Now, this is Annette. Oh,
Yeah, we can
oh,
do that.
He was the last one.
Oh, was he? Oh, well, look at that. Well, we just get to meet Annette and say hello. Can we talk to Annette later? I'll have to talk to you later, Annette. I don't. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing, as per usual. We complain about COVID and we're just as bad. But anyway, okay, thanks very much. We're doing something else.
I'll learn speeches first. Okay, well, there we go. So who's the first speaker to come on? And the first speaker is this person. That was easy. That's easy emceeing. You want me to hold this while you do your phone?
Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Jim. Shush. I want to begin today by acknowledging the Gunta people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today, and pay my respects to elders past and present and emerging. Good afternoon, all you crazy, smiling, fresh air breathing sovereign beings. You are standing here, shoulder to shoulder with other people who have supreme power and authority over themselves. You all stand in your sovereignty, and you know what? That's a really, truly beautiful thing to see. Is freedom an inalienable right, or is it a reward given by governments to compliant people? Listening to our illustrious leaders over the last 2 years, one would be forgiven for thinking human rights were theirs to give and theirs to take away. Brisbane or Beijing, Melbourne or Moscow, Sydney or Shanghai, Perth or Pyongyang, Darwin or Da Nang. What's the difference these days? Not much, evidently. It is one thing to say that people who don't choose to follow their decreed mandates are unwise. It is another thing altogether to say that they are undeserving of basic human rights in their own country of birth. Regardless of your views on the jab, is this really the kind of country we want to live in? A country in which politicians make medical decisions for us and then hold press conferences where they promise to reward or to punish us according to our obedience. Think about that. If a perfectly healthy person has decided, for whatever reason, that they don't want to follow a mandate, they are now deemed undeserving of basic rights we all took for granted less than 2 years ago. Our Australian diggers fought and died for our freedom. That includes your freedom of choice. Our ancestors were the ones who fought. Don't anyone dare tell us that we are undeserving. Make tonight about your family and your friends standing in their integrity. Make tonight about meeting new members of your community. Make tonight about the beauty we're surrounded by. Because tonight is for you and because of you all. Thank you. I'd like to call on Michael and Damien to say hello and welcome you all. Then we've got a few other speeches, lovely prayer, and then we'll have some music.
Just talk amongst yourselves for a little bit.
Just getting on. We've got, so there's these two singers here who we interviewed before, and we brought up Bradley. Is there any other musicians here who are going to come up and sing or anything like that? If you do, just come up and introduce yourselves. You're more than welcome. Someone approached me, said they brought a trumpet. So, yeah. But anyway, look, before we go, thanks for all for coming. We're going to continue to do interviews, what we do in the regional centres. If anybody wants to have a say about what's going on, simply because in the city, Dan and the mainstream media just tell everybody that the country towns are really happy and everything's booming. And so we come up to see if that's the truth, and if it's not, let you have your say, so we can add a different narrative to the country's narrative. Anything else you'd like to say, Big Tom?
No, not necessarily, but I hope someone will want to sing. Otherwise, I'll sing. That wasn't a laugh line. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you got to hear this. Oh boy. Yeah, no, that's it. I haven't got anything to say. It's just great to be here. It's great to talk to people. It's so wonderful. Obviously, it's a traumatizing time for everyone because we're being traumatized. That's the truth of the matter. But the great thing is, too, that people come together through that trauma. If it wasn't for that trauma, we wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have met so many of the people we've talked to already today. And we're doing this in communities throughout Victoria. I don't know that we're allowed to do it anywhere else because we're probably not allowed to cross a border or something like that.
That's a lie. You can. They're open.
There we go. I've been corrected already. And which is great. And I mean, who would have thought, 18 months ago that Michael and I would be doing this, and in all honesty, it's probably been one of the greatest things I've ever been, one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given, to be able to actually be given a voice to reach out to people and to help build community. So, yeah, thank you all for being here, and we'll just kick on with the show.
I just want to say, with our show, everyone calls us anti-vax, we're actually pro-choice. We do still believe in that my body, my choice. We don't think that's a dinosaur to be put away. But we are anti-vaccination passports. We are anti-mandates, and we do think we need to have a huge community discussion before we start inoculating the young children, rather than just being told to do it. So that's what we're about. So if you want to come up and talk about any of those things, feel free. Now, who's the next speaker?
We've got a singer.
Sorry about that. Can we welcome Emma up here to lead us in prayer, please?
Hi everyone, thanks for coming tonight. It's awesome to see you all here enjoying the sunshine while it's out. I'm just going to thank God for the opportunity to gather, and just anyone wants to join in. And yeah, Lord, I just thank you that we can gather in freedom and in truth, and that wherever the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. And I just thank you for this amazing community, and that there would be amazing connections made today, and that our voice would be heard. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, lovely. Can Julia please come up? She's going to talk to us about strength in humanity.
Hi everyone. My name's Juhi. I'm from Melbourne, and I just want to thank the Warrnambool community for the very warm welcome that my family and I have received. When I was thinking about what to say today, I thought I would start by saying everything that I feel I need to hear at the moment, because I thought if I need to hear it, there's probably someone else out there that needs to hear the same things. Something to say at the outset is that transformational change often begins with looming crisis, fear, conflict, and despair. But it can end with renewal, commitment, and action to stem that chaos and turn it into a brilliant coherence, So what I see is that we must retain an unyielding resilience, a curiosity about the unknown, and comfort with uncertainty. Being receptive to not knowing takes courage. I know this, and everyone here is feeling uncomfortable. Be assured that your convictions, which have taken you on the journey that has led to your feet being on this ground right now, make sense. And even if you don't know the outcome, you are doing the right thing. Recast your anxiety through a lens of hope, imagination, desire, and possibility, because turmoil is a gateway to creativity. Things might feel apocalyptic right now, but it might help to remember the etymology of the word apocalyptic. It is an unveiling of the hidden. It is not a cataclysm. I also thought I might validate your sanity for a moment. I'm going to make a few statements, and for every statement I make, it might sound rhetorical, but if it resonates with you, can I get everyone in the crowd to say a big yes? Do you think it is reasonable to question the implementation of universal repressive mandates for a disease that has a 99% survival rate for most people? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question the largest wealth transfer the world has ever seen of over $14 trillion from the pockets of the lower and middle class to a few select corporations and billionaires? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question the policies of government to stem a pandemic when those policies have resulted in 500 billion people slipping into abject poverty? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question the mandate of an experimental medical drug that has no long-term safety data on you and your children? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question why a regulatory agency can take 75 years to release the data they use to provide a product licensure when it took 108 days to review that same documentation? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question why countless thousands of scientists and medical experts are dissenting and being censored, ostracized, deplatformed, attacked, and demonized for that questioning? Yes. Do you think it is reasonable to question a mandate of an experimental drug that is in violation of the UN Declaration of Bioethics and Human Rights, the UN Declaration of Rights, the Victorian Charter for Human Rights and Responsibilities, the Nuremberg Code, and the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights? Is it unreasonable to you that we have reached a point in society where the unvaccinated are segregated as the unclean, that they may be denied health care, life-saving organ transplants, and even food? Thank you. So what have the elites sought to do? They've sought to dehumanize you through separation, anonymize you through masks, undignify you through the denial of an embrace, the denial of a haircut. They have removed integrity through the diffusion of personal responsibility, asked for and received uncritical conformity to harmful group norms, and ultimately a passivity towards evil, everyday banality of evil. So now, if you'll give me a few more minutes, I'd like to validate something else in you. I'd like to validate the effervescence, the magic that is everyone here. We are a newly conscious manifestation of a 14 billion year evolutionary process. We are confronting an extinction level event. Even prior to the pandemic, I think we were all feeling a vacuum, an absence of something, meaning maybe, a constant sense of alienation and exhaustion. When we survive this, and we will be a very different civilization. We will be intentionally evolving towards an intelligent, wise, more loving, and more cooperative society. Let's untangle another feeling that I think we might all be having: discontent with the dogma of science. Let's disregard for a minute that the pandemic has revealed that many people have neither understood what constitutes science nor the rigorous principles that underpin its formulation. We are rebelling, I feel, against what is emblematic of our era, and that is a reliance on the rational, the linear, the technical. Science relegated all other forms of thinking and feeling to the subjective, mental, mythological, imaginary, storytelling, fictional and spiritual, things that were unreal. It has only concerned itself with the tangible and measurable. But science is always contextual, and truth is variable. Truth is tentative. Many people uncritically embrace a worldview that is predicated upon duality: mind, body, knowledge, experience, reason, emotion, culture, nature, us and them. Elites have known to deploy these dualities to divide humanity and instigate artificial schisms. But we are not so easily fooled. Despite an onslaught of sophisticated tools and perception engineering, everyone here has united. We see the inevitable and magical interconnectedness of all life. For me, my spirituality reminds me that authority comes from within. But that also there is no me and there is no you. There is only me and you and me. And always to be in search of and in deference to the sacred, whatever that looks like today. I'm continually asking, what is us? What is human? What is society? We're always renegotiating and redreaming our relationships with the world. I continually encounter new knowledge about our universe, which confounds, intrigues, enchants, and nourishes my mind and heart. I'd like to give you a couple of examples, if that's okay. All natural human language adheres to what is known as Zipf's law. Now, this is a law which describes how frequently we may observe the use of a particular word based on the frequency of use of the most common word in the language. Bear with me. This has many empirical implications for a lot of disciplines. Astoundingly, researchers have found that within your own body, your DNA ascribes to this law. What does that mean? It means that the non-coded junk DNA in your body that no one completely knows the purpose of is actually language. And we have to figure out what it's telling us. Here's another piece of magic. In the last few decades, many luminaries in physics are concluding, however tentatively, that consciousness is the most fundamental essence of existence, out of which comes material reality. So what that means to me is if creation comes or is created by our convictions, our expectations, and our intentions, that means that we not only have a huge responsibility for what we do, but what we think. What if these speculations are correct? What would human experience be like in such an interconnected world? The reason I'm telling you all of this is because I need you to remember this. Take care of yourself. Make time for dreaming, reverie, wool gathering, daydreaming, and remain vigilantly irreverent and untrammeled humor. And re-enchant your life. It is magical and so are you. Everything is potential, nothing is static. Do not suffocate or repress the mystical intuition within you. Instead, let it rise. Because as you know, the world is radically, unyieldingly, unassailably, consciously constructed. And I believe that it's through our visions that we can compel a more beautiful world into being.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful, as usual. I'd like to call Kaz now. Kaz is our warrior mama bear, and she has a few words.
A few words is a bit of an understatement, really. Welcome, everybody. It's exciting, and it's great to have you all here and see so many smiling faces. My name is Kaz, and I've been part of this community for nearly 30 years. Here I go again. I need you. After the past gatherings, I've pondered on what I'll share today. I want to give a quick overview, as quick as I can, so you can see where my story comes from. And what I want to share is some direction, motivation, solutions. Apologies to those who've already heard a fair bit of this already. I'm a mama bear of 3 beautiful, soulful girls, aged 19, 17 and 12. My 19-year-old works full-time, 17, homeschooled from July this year, and 17 just finished primary school. The pressure on our younger generation is incomprehensible. All their friends and peers are getting these shots, and they're looked down upon if they're not normal if they don't get these shots as well. They are all so scared of spreading and dying from this flu. Their freedoms and rights are being taken away, and they're just told to follow along and do the right thing by everybody else. Following their role models and other peers on social media platforms that they stream, there certainly isn't anything about the safety of these shots, what their choices are, how to stand up and say, no, it's my body, that this is irreversible, and the potential of permanently damaging effects of this gene-altering, provisionally approved, is a toxic loaded poison that is being injected into their bodies. I have fought for my girls very hard, trying to educate them about the side effects, the facts being presented, the misinformation,
the deaths and the psychological tricks and tactics that are being used at all angles. My girls feel like they're in a washing machine. When they come to my place, they hear my views. When they go to their father's, they hear his. I'm the only person in my girl's life that try to reach to them and tell them what this damage is, this shot is, and what it can do. The other side says that if you don't get this clot shot, you can't go see your grandmother, or you'll make her sick and she can die. You won't be able to work, you won't be able to go to school, you can't go on camps. You can't go away on family holidays, you can't go to functions. You won't be able to shop, travel, eat, play sport, have your freedoms, blah, blah, blah. In August, the girls' father organised a phone meeting with my girls and their cousin. And their cousin is a very clever young man. He's a doctor and specialises in studies like a cure for malaria. In that chat, he said that it's not proven about females becoming infertile. It's highly recommended, especially for people who are immune compromised. And my oldest is type 1 diabetic, and she's an asthmatic. The studies are showing it will stop you from getting COVID, and the conversation went on about supporting what the information their father and the mainstream media has been telling and drumming into them. I knew what the outcome of this conversation would lead to, and yes, they advised me they were going to get the clot shot. When my eldest told me, she said, "We made a pact, Mum, one in, all in." I had a lot to say. Then I said, well, all I can do is pray. We all have our own contracts with God, I believe, and whatever happens is your journey. And I just pray that all will be safe, and I place my faith in God's hands. I was sick for 4 days. My body shut down and I was a mess. I was absolutely devastated. I felt like I'd failed my girls and I had not done enough to convince them and stop them for this act of unreason. Also, I felt quite perplexed about how they could not see what I was seeing. My eldest two have had their first and their second shots. My 12-year-old has had her first. Since their shots, my girls have had side effects. Nothing at this stage has made them drop to the floor, but I do keep a close eye on them and listen to what they are saying about their bodies as they are changing. There's been graduations and celebrations that many parents have had, excluding them from that if you have not been double jabbed. As a parent, we all know that the feelings that have been raging through us all. I have sent emails to local schools, councils, shires, MPs. And the response is usually nothing, or we're just following the guidelines and orders being handed down. Where am I going? Oh, okay. Putting this poison into our children's bodies is not okay, and it's not okay to undermine the intelligence of us, the people, the parents. My heart gets heavy and burdened by knowing what lies ahead, but I try to keep moving forward. I overthink a lot, I doubt myself often, and I question, when is this going to end? I feel I'm being pushed hard and tested like never before. Yes, my 3 girls have been jabbed, but I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know what the outcome is going to be in these uncharted waters like everybody else. But I do know this, I have a tribe, a very committed and determined tribe that stands right before me here and now. I have so much love in my heart and I want to help as many people as I can. I know I love to talk, and in my line of work it has helped me to reach many. I know I have built a hell of a lot of resistance over the last 2 years and it still grows, just like my tribe, our tribe here today. I've fallen over, but I got up. I fell over again, but I got up again. I fell over again and again and again. But damn it, I've got up again. And this is where my tribe and my partner have helped me be my shining light. This is the importance of being with your community and standing together. Who teaches your child to walk, to be strong, to be a better person, to think for themselves, to throw a ball and to stand up when they get knocked over? You do. Who's there when your child is sad, bullied, feeling left out, broken, hungry, cold and sad? You are. Who is there when your child fails a test, has a crash, needs comfort, loses the race? You are. Who does your child turn to? They turn to you. Who does your child trust most in their life? They trust you. Even if you are the only person to stand up for them and to stand in their corner, that is your job. And you do it with vigour, strength and dignity every day. This is your purpose, protect and save your children. So please do not ever underestimate how important you are in your children's life and what you do for them, ever. So where does this lead us to? This system has never supported us or our children. We know how corrupt and deceitful all this is, but I suppose we never really knew how much until the last few months, few years, and if you've been awake for longer, you know how many and how far the rabbit holes go. We are at war, a psychological and spiritual war. I've got to the point in my life, and I've said that when I draw my last breath on this earth, all I want to leave is a legacy for my children, for them to say that when no one stood up for them, Mum did. When no one else believed in them, Mum did. When no one else was willing to speak up and spread the truth, Mum tried. What did Mum stand for? Mum stood for our freedoms, our future, for love, for honesty, transparency, justice, truth, equality, for our human and God-given rights, for peace and for her family, her kids, for all the kids and for her tribe. We also need to acknowledge and relieve our heavy hearts. I think part of this process is mourning what we once knew, not burying our heartaches, not hiding our truths, not shaming or blaming ourselves or others, but allowing ourselves to grieve, as many have lost so much and don't even recognise this current world. I've met some bloody amazing people who are kind, compassionate, caring, unconditional, loving, uplifting, refreshing, honest, resilient and real. The last 2 years have been a blessing for me. I found my tribe that breathes new opportunities, solutions and enlightenment. At some point, you need to draw a line in the sand. You need to pick a road. Which direction are you going and who with? Have you found your tribe? If you haven't, come join ours. We will help put you back on your feet, fill your heart with love and listen to your story. Have a look at you, have a look around you right now. Tell me what you see. I see people from all walks of life, and guess what? We're all in your corner. We're all in your children's corner. We are united. I've only met a few of you. I have only met you today, last week or last year, but I feel like I've known you all of my life. We're all connected and don't ever feel alone. You are never alone, not here, not now, not ever. Be fearless. Remember who you are. It's time to wake up. Sleeping and hiding is not an option anymore. What makes your heart fill up with joy? What makes your soul sing? What fires your internal being? Where's your voice? Is it being heard? When I was thinking about these questions for myself, motivating, empowering and lifting people up is what I love to do. To bring healing, to spread the love and the laughter of life, to show that we all have the answers right here in our hearts, to dance, to move, to celebrate what we do, to return to Mother Earth, to lift our hearts to the heavens and ask for help and to pray for peace and love. For 25 years, I've been able to do this, and 2 years ago, I unknowingly gave away a lot of this power. But guess what? I reclaim it all. I take it all back here right now. So here I am. I'm here right now to motivate you to stand up, to motivate you to reclaim your sovereignty, to motivate you to protect your family, to show you that you have all the power to make the difference, and all that is needed is in your hands right now. They need us to comply. They need us to follow their system so they can control us, so they can implement their systems. Do you see how easy it is? We actually have the power to stop and end this. So we do not comply. Stop wearing masks. Stop PCR testing. Stop QR coding. Stop getting jabbed. No more complying. When we stop, it all stops. It's that simple. Stand up, people and parents. Show up and start leading. This is our time to take control back. Keep pushing back. Together, we will not back down. Know your rights, understand your constitution. No one stand in your power. There are many distractions like easing the restrictions over Christmas, but you must not get complacent. They're going to hit us harder than ever before and push their agendas, but there's millions of us waking up, standing up. They're making mistakes, the cracks are opening. So they are ramping it up because they're losing control of us, the people. So please do not let your guard down. Keep moving forward. Arm yourself with knowledge, friendships and your tribes. Arm yourself with a deep understanding of who you are and what you stand for. Shine your empowered light, beautiful brothers and sisters. Get raw, get real, get motivated. I want you to climb your mountain. When you get to the top of your mountain, go find a bigger mountain. When you get to the top of that mountain, go find a bigger mountain again. Keep going, rest where you need, but get up and find another mountain. Bring your self-worth, bring your knowledge, your skills and your heart. Walk in your truth, walk with us together. The ladies have created a flyer called Creating Community Together. Also, there's parents and questions are here to help the kids along with COVID's for COP, COPs for COVID Truth. I'm reaching out to all you incredible, amazing kids out there. Do not ever think you don't have a voice, because you do. Please come and see us for details and we can help you. There's some great people to follow. Please stay strong. There's more information. If you need it, please reach out. If you feel troubled, please reach out. There's always help for you. Turn your heart to the land. Mother Earth is always here for us. The ocean, the trees, the mountains. Feel her heartbeat. Sing, dance and flow with her. This is nature's way that's been forgotten. Quitting is not an option. When the trenches get drenched, we huddle together and we dig deeper. We put on a coat. Your real strength and test of character is you being here today and showing up. Many obstacles have presented themselves today, but you showed up. That takes guts, that spirit. Thanks, Jen, for organising everything. Thanks, guys, Damien and Michael, for coming down. It's been a real treat and pleasure to have you guys here. Merry Christmas to your families, your friends. Keep hugging, keep leading with your heart. Remember, we rise together, we are one, and we are many. Thank you, God bless.
Now I'm going to cry. We'd like to welcome Marsha from IMOP here today to give a short tribute to Uncle Max.
The Informed Medical Options Party will continue the legacy of cultural advisor Uncle Max Dooley Harrison from the Yuin Nation of the South Coast. Uncle Max's role with the IMOP Party was to be a voice for Indigenous Australians and, in fact, all Australians. He lived through the sorry days and genocide and wanted to avert another for his brothers and sisters and for future generations. I was fortunate enough to meet Uncle Max in 2019 and apologise for what has happened over the past and present to his First Nations people. Let's keep Uncle Max's legacy in protecting all the children in this land from the experimental compounds containing synthetic protein. Thank you, everyone. And please take a minute of silence in your own time in memory of Uncle Max. Thank you.
Thank you, Marsha. Janine is a local from our community, and she has a bit of a story about her journey with this in the Warrnambool community.
Hi, I haven't prepared a planned speech and I never do. I don't roll like that. I've had to listen to some of the ladies who've spoken prior to me from the time I arrived to now, and I'm inspired. I hope that you all are too, because we all have something in great deep common, and that is one, that we're all human, and secondly, that we're all spirit. And I was just sharing to another lady there, who's also a local now, as she's currently stuck here. We're all becoming forced Victorian locals lately, when borders shut down. She was just reminding me of how some of us have met people that we had nothing in common with under the normal social constructs, but lately we're meeting people who've been like family all our life. And some of us have lost our families. And I'd like to share a little bit about my experience. I'm a single mum with 6 children. They range from 2, this is the little one here, to 17. And they've been through a lot of struggles in the last 2 years, like even all of us have as adults. It's changed their playgroup, their kinder, their primary school and high school attendance. It's changed their social groups. It's changed their communities, their interactions. Many haven't been able to go to the cinema if they didn't want to get vaxxed. All of my children have seen their teenage social friends get vaccinated, one by one by one, in the last 3 months. They've seen adverse reactions in them. My own 19-year-old niece has been double vaccinated, and she had a stroke within 24 hours and became paralysed down the left-hand side of her body, was in Geelong Hospital for quite a long time. Once she recovered after teaching herself to walk again with her parents, she now has a hole in her knee from surgery that won't heal up. So her immune system's been compromised permanently. And that's just one experience that my children have experienced, observing that this is maybe something they don't need to be a part of. And I really want to impress upon you all that we all have children or are children ourselves, and we can really relate to the idea and the need, as the lady before me, Kaz, was speaking about, the importance that we stand up and defend our children, our friends' children, our community's children, and also ourselves, each other as brothers and sisters. Most of us have, unless you're an only child, I certainly wasn't, but we have community within us. And we must choose to stand up and fight in whatever way that looks like. And for want of a better word, I don't usually use the word fight, but I have had major arguments with my children, my 17-year-old, my 15-year-old, and my 13-year-old. And I have stood my ground and said to them, I love you too much to say it's okay if you want to just try something trendy like getting vaccinated. I won't say that. I will tell them, my brother is a geneticist of 27 years. He works in Germany. He is paid nearly $1 million a year to do what he does. He is a professional. He's a world-leading expert in genetic modification of organisms. He pretty much meddles with your food, and he makes your pigs and your chickens and your beef, make them bigger, their udders are bigger, their breasts and the chickens are bigger, and his job is to make your food grow faster genetically so that you can eat it quicker, so the companies can make more money off us consuming it. And they sell it and they market it. And my brother makes a lot of money because he spent 27 years doing it. He's also worked for Astra before they merged with Zeneca to become AstraZeneca 15 years ago. And he won't be touching the vaccine because it's to kill you. It is not something that was ever out to do you good. It wasn't to make you grow. It wasn't to make you get an immune system that would fight a virus that was already planned before this. And I can tell you that from that experience, in 2019, when this broke out, my brother was working 10 years prior around the time of the bird flu. And my mother was still alive. And at the time I was at my mum's house, and my brother called up to say, can you let mum know I'm going to be bunkered down? Because that's what happens with specialists who work in the field. They get bunkered down to protect themselves from any potential pandemic so that they don't die or get compromised health when they're trying to find a cure for humanity. That's what it's about, protecting and preserving humanity. But guess what happened when COVID hit? Their lab didn't get notified to be bunkered down. Nobody did. They tried to hide it. They tried to shut it down to point out that this wasn't actually life-threatening. And it was very difficult for any research lab, private and public, to get tissue samples of people who had allegedly died from it so that they could start getting on board as a community worldwide and globally find a cure. That's just really interesting, isn't it? I mean, you don't have to have a high IQ to work out that that is corrupt.
there's something distorted about that. It's not consistent with humanity trying to cure something that's allegedly deadly. And so obviously I stood by my brother and understanding and knowing, he told me when I was 15, that was 22 years ago now, that they were going to depopulate. So I've been really fortunate to have had a life path where I've had a small amount of information that's really imperative to today that I've been exposed to. And I happen to have 6 kids that I have the privilege of protecting and defending. And I really empathise with Kaz about her story with her children being vaccinated. I have heard many stories. I very much enjoy being led by the spirit of this universe to be guided to talk to people about their personal experiences. I love to hear you all speak individually about your vulnerability, because we all are struggling, but we're all growing and we're all turning into people that we've never even seen before. I am doing things I have never thought I could actually do. I've thought about it, but now I'm doing it with a confidence I've never had before, because my drive is my love for my individual self, my individual family members, my community, my neighbours, my greater good for humanity, and my love for all of you. And I want you to all know that sometimes the conversations you have with the family are not fun. They're confrontational. They're uncomfortable. They bring up feelings within both of you, or sometimes the whole family, that you think is only destructive and not beneficial. But I have found time and time again this year, particularly the last 6 months with my teenagers, that when I have stood my ground, they've respected me. And my 17-year-old came to me about 2 months ago and he said, "Mum, I can't go to school next year and do VCE if I'm not vaccinated. I can't do the apprenticeship I was starting this year that I've already started 6 months if I'm not vaccinated. I can't play football next year if I'm not vaccinated." And he turned to me and he said, "What do I do? Tell me what I need to do. How am I going to get around this? How do I succeed in this world? And how do I do what I want to do when they're making me have to go through this very thin tunnel that's jumping through their hoops, but I don't want to do it. And I don't want to do it because I'm a rebel. I don't want to do it because it doesn't feel right. It's not good for me." And I just cried. And we took 15 minutes to get from our house to the place I was taking him. And I cried. And he said, "What the hell are you crying for?" I said, "Because I've succeeded. I've raised a child who's thinking for himself, who doesn't want to do what his teacher said." And on that note of that child, he goes to a high school here. And just only a week and a half ago, he shared with me something that was really disturbing. The high school, the career path and his coordinator had liaised and arranged for him to be taken in school hours to the vaccination centre to be vaccinated, because they wanted to help him get a career, because he realised that he wasn't vaccinated and they understood that, and they wanted to help him progress in the education system. And he said no. And they suggested, then they became medical advisors and suggested he take Moderna, because there's a smaller window between taking his second dose, and that means he could progress faster. So he tells me this a week and a half ago. I wasn't really that horrified because hello? It didn't surprise me because of what we're seeing in the world. It didn't surprise me. And I asked him why he didn't do it. And he said, because it just didn't feel right. And in the end, 3 weeks later, they asked him, would he like to go on a Saturday, and they're willing to come to our home and pick him up to help him so that he could get into a different career path. And so he could finish graduating year 10 and attend the Geelong Fun Day that they'd arranged, that he could only attend if he was double vaccinated. This time he told them to F off. And this, I was so proud of my son. It's really difficult for them. I've seen all my teenagers cry. I've heard them all call me crazy. We've had really interesting conversations, and we've had tears, and we've had tantrums. And I've pleaded with them to hear the truth and seek it for themselves. Don't just listen to me. Get on the internet, read your history books, find out who's running this country, who's the United Nations. Ask them, who's the World Health Organization. Ask your kids if they even know how our country is run. And ask and encourage them to seek this information. My kids have cried. They feel lost. They've been through this roller coaster this last 6 months of, why was I born in this era? Why me? Why can't I have a normal childhood? Why can't I? Mum, fix it. Mum, you always fix everything. But I can't. All I can do is guide them to being who they are individually. And that's what that's what I love about not writing speeches, because if I had of, it wouldn't have been aligned with what's been already said today. And this is obviously what's meant to be said, that I urge all of you to individually parent one another in the truths of our existence. It's that simple. Be there for one another. Independently claim who you are. Be who you are. Don't let the masks take your identity away. Don't let the mandates make you feel oppressed. You are all unique. You are all powerful beings. You are all creative. You've all got something really valuable to contribute to this community here in Warrnambool. If you work in the health sector, if you work in security, if you work in retail, wherever you work, that doesn't define you. It never has. These people have wanted you to believe you're of a status of something, but that's not who you are. We're much better and greater and deeper than that. And here in this community, we are acknowledging that. No matter what our background is, no matter what our colour, whatever our culture or tradition, our birthplace, we are all united as one. And I just want to leave you with that, because that's all I really live today. I live it every single day, and my kids see that. I love the unvaccinated. I love my premier. I love the vaccinated. I love everyone. I just want to see this greater humanity, that we all recognise that we are here today changing the world. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to have some songs now. Where's Rebecca and Anton? Ah, come on, Beck. Thank you, everyone. It's just amazing to see you all here. Yeah. We've started a co-op of everything, and we've got some flyers here. And we're calling ours Creating Community Together, Southwest Victoria. So there's going to be teams that work together: common law, homeschooling, mental and physical health and medical, media, communications, arts and entertainment, food security and seed saving, businesses and services. The aims and values of our community will be the local community support aimed at helping others in all aspects of everyday life with pure and genuine intentions. The creation of big-hearted local networks, essential in building strong, healthy, free-thinking people who will secure a safe and prosperous future for us all and the generations to come. Consciousness focused on mental health, nutrition, personal well-being, food security, family support, peer-to-peer and child education, homeschooling, holistic health practices, long-term economic solutions, sustainable living whilst maintaining positive mindsets and showing love and compassion for all. Essentially, our goal is to help others, help themselves, and create a safe and beautiful world to prosper in. If this is something that resonates with you, please come and get some information from us. I'd like to thank Rebecca, Anton, and the crew here for all their hard work. I am not musically inclined at all, so it's over to them.
Thanks, everybody. So please join us. We're going to sing I Am Australian, so we're sure that you'll know at least the chorus, so we'd like to hear you all for that. Thank you.
We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. we are Australian.
I came from the dream time, from the dusty ruts of plains. I am the ancient heart, the keeper of the flame. I stood upon the rocky shore, I watched the tall ships come. For 40,000 years I've been the first Australian.
I came upon the prison ship held down by iron chains. Endured the land, endured the lash, and waited for the rains.
I'm a settler, I'm a farmer's wife, on a dry and barren road.
And a free man, I became Australian.
I'm the daughter of a digger, of Singapore.
The girl became a woman on the long and dusty road.
I'm a child of the depression, I saw the good times.
I'm a bushy, I'm a battler, I am Australian. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia.
I'm the teller of stories, a singer of songs.
I'm Albert Namatjira, I paint the ghostly guns.
I'm Clancy on his horse, I'm the Kelly
I'm the one who was Matilda, I am Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia.
I'm the hawkwind from the desert, I'm the black soil of the plains.
And the mountains and the valleys are the drought and flooding rains.
I am the rock, I am the sky, the rivers when they run.
Spirit of this great land, I am Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands of earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia. We are one, but we are many, and from all the lands on earth we come. We share a dream and sing with one voice. I am, you are, we are Australia.
Thank you. Now we'll do one more song. We thought it might be appropriate for the times we're living in. It's an older song. Many of you will probably know it. It's The Sound of Silence by Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walked alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo of a street lamp. I turned my collar to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. Anymore, people talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never share, and no one dare disturb the sound of silence. Fool, said I, you do not know, silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you, take my arms that I might reach you, but my words like silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was for me. And the sign said the words of the prophets are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Thank you. And I just have one question. Michael mentioned that in the city they all think that the country is happy with the direction we're being told we should go in. So I just have a question. Are we in Warrnambool happy with the way things are going as led by the government? No! And once more. No!
Hello, everybody. How are you going? We've been sitting for a long time now. I'm just wondering if people are happy to stand up for a minute. I need some help with this. So I'm just going to lead a song, and I need a little bit of help from the audience. So it's quite simple. You can sit if you really want to sit, but you might appreciate some flow of blood to the body. I'll take these off. It's a song that I wrote about the coal seam gas industry because I was living up in New South Wales in Lismore, and we had warning they were coming down. And yeah, so we were pre-warned because things got pretty ugly up there. And we successfully, as a community, mounted a challenge to the coal seam gas industry. It's pretty aggressive. Anyway, but I feel this song makes sense with what we're dealing with today. So anyway, I'm just going to set a beat, and if you can help me keep that beat, that would be great. Okay, so it goes like this. Hang on. Okay, we'll start again. So if you can keep that, because I'm going to find it hard to do with microphones and so all right. Yeah, you've got it really quickly. It's great. Boom, 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 bop, a home, home, bop, home, home, bop, home, home, bop, a home, home, bop, a home, home, bop, home, home, bop, home, bop. What seeds are we planting here? Seeds of love, seeds of fear. Is it the fruit our kids can eat? Is the taste it leaves bitter or sweet? Where will we draw our water from? How will we make the branches strong? Tree of life or the tree of death? If we stop right now, our seed will be blessed. Stop right now, or it's too late. Stop right now, the earth won't wait. Stop right now, let's lock the gate. Stop right now, let's lock the gate. Where will we heading with so much haste? How will we make the words? Where are we heading with so much haste? What will we do with all this waste? Where will it go in the next big rain? And when bushfires burn, whose hands will be stained? Stop right now before it's too late. Stop right now, the earth won't wait. Stop right now, let's lock the gate. Stop right now, let's lock the gate. Business steady deals, hard hats and high heels. Oh, you know, guys, I think I've done amazing, and I'm going to leave out the bridge. Thank you for indulging me on that. I'm very nervous, and I was a bit impromptu, but yeah, look, that phrase, lock the gate, was about stopping the coal seam gas industry coming to your property. As soon as you allowed them on, as soon as you opened the gate to them, they had legal access and you couldn't stop them from there on. And the community wasn't warned of this and didn't know this, so they warned us. And we successfully mounted this challenge with a community that are committed to community and know the value of our water. So guys, people like you right now are making that difference right now. I'm scared. I'm just a community member. All these amazing people who've got up and spoken, they're scared too. They're really scared. But we're doing it. Why? Because we value our lives, our water, our children, our family, our health, and our freedom. So thank you everybody. Thanks for coming. Thank you for organising this and being part of this. Let's lock the gate.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to make a couple of adjustments to the piano, and then we've got a brilliant performer who's come up from Melbourne to do some wonderful work for us today. And then after that, we'll be getting straight into the Christmas carols. Just hold it up.
Hey guys, how you doing? It's a beautiful community we have out here. Thank you for coming down. I know it's a bit cold, but it's certainly warm in our hearts, eh? So I'm a piano singer. I've been performing on Parliament steps with my friend Paul Casper. I'm not sure, you might know me, you might not, but we wrote a song called Rise. We performed it in Flagstaff Gardens, and it's a song that's becoming we wrote it to give hope back to the community, to sort of tell everyone that, you know, you're not alone. We can do this if we believe and stand together. All right, so I'm not going to do Rise just yet. I might sing it a bit later. I'm going to start with a Christmas carol. Holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Saviour's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till He appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine. He taught us to love one another. His law is love, and His gospel is peace. Chains shall He break, for the slave is our brother, and in His name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise His holy name. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine. you, thank you. I might perform another one if there's. I'm not sure. There might be another performer coming up, but I'll do one more. All right. So I know it's been a terrible 2 years, but yeah, over the past 2 years, I realized it's not Victoria that's the bad place. It's not Australia. It's not the world. The world is still a beautiful place. It's still filled with beautiful people. It's just, it's just the people's in power. So this song, the next song I'm going to sing, is a song that represents Australia and the love for Australia that we still all have within us. And it's just, it's still there. It's not taken away. So, all right, you'll know this one. So I'm not going to tell you the name. I've been to cities that never goes down, from New York to Rio and old London town. But no matter how far or how wide I roam, I still call Australia home. I'm always traveling, I love being free, so I keep believing the sun and the sea. But my heart lies waiting over the foam. I still call Australia home. All the sons and daughters spinning around the world, away from their families and friends. But as the world gets older and colder, it's good to know where your journey ends. Someday we'll all be together once more, when all of the ships come back to the shore. I realize something I've always known. I still call Australia, sing with me. I still call Australia, I still call Australia home. All right, I'll do one more and then I might come back later if you guys like me. All right, so I'm going to sing a song that I wrote with Paul Casper. This is Rise. So for those of you that haven't heard it, I'd love to share you the song. So Paul actually usually sings this one, but he's not here, so I'm going to sing it for you guys. You can hear my version of it. We watch the world through Mayan eyes, fixed on the altars of hypocrisy. The blue church serves its holy wine, the poison of this new theocracy. We stood by and watched the free world die. Not this time, we'll rise. We will rise to set the world on fire.
Our souls are not for hire. No, you won't take me. We will rise like David to Goliath, to scream freedom or die. No, you won't take me alive. We will rise. We watched you hide behind your lies. As overlord, you preached equality, and I can't stand it. Oh, your false commandments. Our worship idols of autocracy. We stood by and let you bleed us dry. We won't compromise this time. We will rise to set this world on fire. Our souls are not for hire. No, you won't take me. We will rise like David to Goliath, to scream freedom or die. No, you won't take me alive. I know you're kind. You're like Goliath to David. Our stones will become your demise. And if I die, I'll die with pride. We will rise to set the world on fire. Our souls are not for hire. No, you won't take me. We will rise like David to Goliath, to scream freedom or die. No, you won't take me. You never break me. You won't take us alive. We will rise. All right. I might give the mic to someone else, and then I'll come back later. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
One more big thank you to Bradley for that wonderful performance. So I believe we're going to move on to some carols. Now, it was very short notice to put this on, so we've decided it's a bit of a DIY carols. So we've got recordings and we'll be introducing the songs, but we're expecting the voices of our community to sing the carols, and we'll make it a real community carols. So we hope everybody enjoys it, and we're lucky the weather's cleared up, so let's just make the most of this lovely night. Thank you. Erin's going to come on up and introduce the carols as we go.
Is this thing on? Yeah. Hi, guys. Yes, as Rebecca said, it's a bit ad hoc and last minute, so we didn't have a choir and a symphony for you, but we do have a playlist from Spotify that we're going to go through. I'm being pushed to the middle. Yes. If you haven't got a booklet already for the Christmas carols, just near this bin here is a basket. And for any kiddies, we've also got some bonbons. And if you have some ripper bonbon jokes, feel free to come up and share them with me. And in between songs, I'll read them out for everyone so we can have a jolly good laugh. So the first song is It's Beginning to Look a Lot Like Christmas by Meredith Wilson, and it's performed by Michael Bublé.
Candy canes and silver lanes that glow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly that will be on your own front door. A pair of hop-on boots and a pistol that shoots is the wish of Bonnie and Ben. Dolls that'll talk and we'll go for a walk as the hope of Josh and Jen. Mom and Dad can hardly wait for school to start again. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Everywhere you go, there's a tree in the Grand Hotel, one in the park as well. It's the sturdy kind that doesn't mind the snow. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Soon the bells will start, and the thing that will make them ring is the carol that you sing right within your heart. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Toys in every store, but the prettiest sight to see is the holly.
Am I in show? We're going to keep recording the show, but we can't actually let Facebook have Michael Bublé on, or they'll just shut down the site. So we're going to shut this down now and continue. We're still interviewing people in the back. So if you're from Warrnambool and you want to be interviewed, come on down. We're doing separate interviews in the back now, and we'll post them tomorrow. Apart from that, good night from Warrnambool. If the singers come back on, we'll record that as well. Take care.
All right. Did anybody open their bonbons and get a ripper joke they want to share? If you did, come on up.
Or should we keep it going?